guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sonia, aka Sonia Blade. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, well, welcome back. So, as you can see in the description box below, I'm going to be talking about pretty much the second fallout of a best friend that I've had. I've mentioned her in a few of my stories. If you are subscribed to my channel and you've watched my other stories, I have mentioned this person before in my teeth tale stories and in my birthday story. So this is the same person in those stories. She was my best friend for the last 8 years, and we finally had a falling out. So before we get started on this tea time, I really wanted to just make something perfectly clear, and I tried to say this in all of my videos. When it comes to tea times that involves other people, I try to be very respectful about it. I don't try to throw these people under the bus. I'm not trying to make somebody look bad. I'm not trying to bash them. My job is just to give the story of just to give my perspective of what happened, how I perceived it. And I've said it before, if these people do not like how I've explained the situation, then they can always make their own channel and they can always pretty much give their side. But I always give it from my perception. I always give it from how it happened to me, how I accepted the situation. And so it's not saying that anybody's right or wrong. It also explains my growth, because I feel like I've grown so much throughout the years, which I hope a lot of people out there have. You learn from your mistakes, you move on, and so I'm going to be explaining that as well. We've already codenamed her, and her name is Rihanna. I'm going to start from the beginning of how I met her, and we're just going to go down the timeline of how me and her had this fallout. So I met Rihanna about 8 years ago. Me and her worked in the dental field. I worked in the dental field for like 14 and a half years. And I met her at an emergency dental place that I had started working at night. A lot of people that worked there, it was like a part-time job. It had just opened. And because of the hours, like I said, a lot of people that they hired, they had full-time jobs and then they worked there part-time. Only the manager worked there full-time. I had already done my transformation. If you're new to the channel, I talked about this before. Many years ago, well, almost 11 years ago, I was a totally different person. I've gone through my trials and tribulations, and I decided to move on from that, grow from that, become a totally different person. It took years, and it took time and patience and just figuring things out, trying this, trying that to see what worked for me to be a better person for myself, for my family, for my kids, just for my entire family, my life, everything. And even in my career, it carried over into my career. So 8 years ago, I started working this part-time job, and I met Rihanna. Rihanna was like the assistant manager there. She had been a dental assistant for a few years. Now, she's younger than me, and out of my 14 and a half years, I think she's only been doing it for 10, maybe 12. Not as long as I have. At the time, I had been a dental assistant for like 8 years, and so she was the assistant manager. She was more like of the administrative person than more clinical. I was more of the clinical person. So, but we still had very strong attributes and very strong work ethic. Over time, we just started talking like a lot of people do when you're at work, just started getting to know your coworkers. And we realized that we had more in common than just work ethic. We also had, kids. We also had, we used to work out. I worked out all the time at the time. I was a fitness and health guru. I was the most healthiest around my time. I was working out twice a day. I was eating super healthy. Again, I was just all about my kids. And so she came off like she was very family oriented as well. She was into eating healthy. She was into working out. So we even got to the point where we started hanging out outside of work. We started going to work out together. She pushed me, I pushed her. She didn't like to lift weights, so I helped her in the weight part. I didn't like to do cardio, and she pushed me in the cardio department. She got me into cycling. So we kind of just pushed each other, motivated each other, and for the first time in a really long time, I really connected with this girl. I've said it before, I'm not really big on being friends with girls, and that has nothing to do with me not liking people. I mean, it's just more like I have a trust problem, and for whatever reason, girls just don't like me. That's fine with me. I'm not here to beg for friends, but I just really didn't trust girls. I had already had a best friend, and I've done a story time on her where I had a fallout with her after 15, 16 years, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart because I've been friends with her since forever, and we went through so much together. Like, we grew together, and falling out with her was like a breakup. It was so much like a breakup. It really hurt my heart. I had a hard time letting her go. And I had promised myself throughout the years that I was not going to allow any toxicity or anybody to treat me so poorly, or to be so mean to me, or to bring toxicity into my life. I was not going to tolerate that. I had already put my foot down. Like I said, I had changed my whole life. I changed my environment. You know, I didn't hang out with the same people. I didn't go to the same places anymore. I didn't even do the same things. I literally just was so focused on me getting mentally healthy, and that kind of transpired into me getting physically healthy. So meeting Rihanna was refreshing. It was like, hey, I have this person who we have so much in common. She sounded like so much like me. I just felt like, oh my God, like like finding a boyfriend almost. Like, oh my God, I found somebody who I can relate to. So me and her started to bond, and we became really good friends. We started to go out as well. I like to get out every once in a while and, have fun. She is a few years younger than me, I think about 3 or 4. And so I really didn't think about that. Her and I would go to a bar. We like the same atmospheres. We would go places, have drinks, and she was pretty wild. I am wild. I've been wild in my days. I'm the girl that you see shaking her ass on the bar and twerking and being stupid. That's me. But I'm not like that anymore. I've grown. I'm older. There are days where I'm just like, it's my birthday. I'm going to act stupid. I'm going to get ratchet. You know what I mean? You got to have those days. You got to have those outlets. It's balance. You know what I mean? Like, so much ratchet, so much bougie. You got to balance that out. So I definitely loved her for that. I let her be the more outgoing one. I feel like I had kind of already grown out of that stage. But then there were times where she would bring the old Sonya out, and we'd be just being wild and have fun. So I had a lot of fun with her. I'm not going to tell like all her business because it's not my place. So that's what I'm trying to say. In the story, it's not to tell, my job is not to tell to her character. It's more to tell my perception and how me and her had this fallout. But just know that she did carry herself in a totally different fashion than I did when it came to certain situations. But I didn't judge her for it. I didn't like tell her anything about it. I mean, it wasn't my business. As long as me and her got along, she's my girl, I'm hers, I got her back, she got mine. That's all that really mattered. I did over time, like she introduced me to people that I'm still cool with. I introduced her to people that she's still cool with. So we were not opposed to like introducing each other to people that we've been mixing with, within our own groups. And I really didn't have a group. I'm just saying like people that I've met over time. Because I'm one to say, like, I don't have groups of friends. I just don't. Like, it's not a priority for me. But I do have people that I'm cool with. And if I call and be like, hey, let's go have a drink, whatever, then that's what it is. Time went on, we actually had, I think, one fallout. We had one fallout. Well, I take that back. We had 2 fallouts. So the first fallout that we had was pretty much we were working at the same location, and I didn't really get into it with her. I got into it with one of her baby daddies. And I can't even remember why me and him got into it, but we did. I was upset. Me and him were arguing. She was kind of in the middle, like, I don't want to be a part of it. Like, y'all need to keep that between yourselves. But a lot of, like, I think our friendship kind of rolled over into our work friendship. And our boss actually came to us and sat down and said, hey, I feel like y'all being friends is an issue. Honestly, that doctor was an asshole. And in my teeth tales, I've already codenamed him Dr. R. So we worked for him for a little while. He was actually a doctor that worked at the emergency place part time that we worked at part time, and he actually owned his own facility in Arlington. I will get more into depth on my teeth tales because I do have a series of that's called teeth tales that I started where I'm going through the years and what I've been through of dental drama within the 14 and a half years that I've been doing it. I'm now retired. That's why I'm being messy. Anyway, so we went to go work for him. She was the manager. I was working in the back in the clinical area. And he was an ass. He was a complete ass. He was a jerk. I hated working for him. Like, he just thought he was the shit, and he really wasn't. He really was not. Well, he's the one who came to us and sat me and Rihanna down, was like, hey, I feel like y'all's friendship is getting in the way of work, and y'all are too friendly, and y'all are like letting each other do whatever, and it's just not working. So Rihanna comes to me later and is like, you know what? I think he's right. I think we need to keep it more on a professional level. Which I was okay with that. I totally understood because I wasn't planning to stay there permanently. I was planning to eventually find this good surgeon that I could finally go to and work for. But then me and her just kind of like, it just kind of created like a tension at work. And I kind of started to pull back, like, okay, I already have problems with her baby daddy. The doctor's already, being an ass to us. Like, I just kind of all right, you know what? I felt like the best way to approach the situation was just to kind of back up and just come to work, do my job, and go home. Well, she kind of picked up on that. She called. She's like, hey, what's going on? We weren't working out after work anymore. We weren't like hanging out. And I told her, I was like, well, I just feel like there's a lot of tension at work, and it's creating like, like like a hostile environment. And I told her, I was like, I'm just not for it. This is not me. I'm probably going to quit or whatever. And she got mad. She took it the wrong way. And after that, we didn't talk. We didn't talk for like a year. I ended up quitting. I ended up going to another place. Again, we didn't even discuss anything. We just kind of cut each other off, and we didn't talk for a whole year. Now, within that time, I had actually met somebody, and I've done a story time on him too, which is my ex-husband. Now that motherfucker, I don't mind throwing him under the bus. I was very messy with him, and I told all of our business when it came to my marriage. I'm getting married, and then I reached out to Rihanna because I'm just like, I haven't really talked to her. I really want to talk to her. I really want to reach out and just kind of rekindle the friendship. Like, I didn't really have any hard feelings towards her. I wasn't upset with her. It was just that situation within that time. So one day I just texted her out of the blue, and I'm just like, hey, bitch, you want to go get a drink? Like, that was it. That was exactly what I texted. Hey, bitch, you want to go get a drink? And she's like, let's go. So we literally picked up like where we left off. Like, we didn't even discuss what happened. We didn't talk about what happened. We, like, nothing. Like, as if it was the next day and we had just moved on a whole year later. So we start hanging out. We start working out together again. We start, doing all this stuff. I'm telling her about my relationship, the things I'm going through, blah, 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 like a lot of friends do. And we just started to grow closer and closer and closer. Now, I finally got into the surgery field, so I loved it. And I talked about the surgeries and stuff like that, things that I did. Again, she was more the administrative person, but we still had so much in common because we were both in dentistry. So she would sit there and like, I could talk about my job for days. Like, I was a teeth nerd. I still am. I think it's just because I've been in that field for so long. But I could talk about teeth for days. I could talk about my job for days. And to sit there and have somebody that I could do that with was so good for me because I didn't feel like I didn't have to like talk to other people that didn't want to hear it. Because I literally would talk to other people and they'd be like, all right, shut up already. Like, we're tired of hearing about your job. With her, we could go have a drink and we could just sit there and talk about the doctors and the coworkers and the managers and the shit they were going through and our patients and just all kinds of stuff, the dental drama. And I really liked that the most. Now, she had, at the time, I think, left her husband or her baby daddy, and she was, for the first time, living on her own. Now, I had moved to Grand Prairie, and she had bought a house in Arlington, so she was closer to me, because she did live farther away at the time. Well, she lived closer to me, and me and her, she was having a hard time when she first moved into her house. She had never been on her own, really, like, solid on her own, And so she was really stressed out about bills. And I totally understood that because I had already gone through that when I first went out on my own. So I was really trying to be there for her. And she was always like that with me as well. Like, that's the one thing, again, like, I liked. It was just, hey, I need you right now. Can you come have a drink with me? Hey, I need you right now. Can you come to my house? Hey, I need you right now. Can da, da, da. And so, again, that friendship, we built it. It was there. It was real. And I never really had that besides with my ex-best friend. Well, I ended up going through a really shitty marriage. And again, if you're new, I've already told this story. I had a narcissistic husband, and it was a really bad relationship. I struggled so much with it, and I used to tell her everything that was going on. Now, she used to tell me stuff about her relationships. Again, there was things that she did that I didn't agree with, which I'm pretty sure there's things that I did that she didn't agree with, but we never judged each other on it. We would just listen for each other, kind of take each other's, back, and then kind of give each other a little bit of advice, but at the same time, it was just more about listening, just being there, being supportive, being the shoulder to cry on. Well, me and my ex-husband were just, I went to the point where I had left him and I was wanting to get a divorce. And then after a few months, me and him kind of talked it out, mostly him. He didn't want to get a divorce. We decided to do marriage counseling. We decided to try to save our marriage because we hadn't even been married that long. And to reconcile, we were going to go do, we did marriage counseling. And, I got a lot of support, honestly, from, like, my mom, my aunt, one of my aunts that I'm really close with. Like, I got some support from some of my family members that were like, hey, we get it. It's a marriage. It's not just, like, a relationship. So we totally get it. And you do what you have to do. It's your marriage. It's your decision. But when it came to outsiders, of course, they don't know the whole situation, and so I really didn't get a lot of support from them. But from all those people, I didn't really care. I cared more about her because she was my best friend. So I remember when I told her, she really surprised me because she went off on me. She was just like, oh my God, you're stupid. I can't believe you're trying to do this. Like, he did this to you and he did this to you, and I've heard you complain about this, and this has been ongoing. You know what? I can't be friends with you if this is what you're choosing to do. That really pissed me off because it's like kind of like, damn, like, you do all this shit, which is none of my business, but I don't judge you for it. So while you're out there doing shady shit, I'm not telling you, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. I can't be friends with you. It was kind of like an unspoken rule, like, keep your mouth shut. Your relationship, the way I viewed relationships compared to the way she viewed relationships are totally not the same. Totally. So I was just really pissed off. I was hurt. And I remember hanging up thinking, like, wow, what a bitch. I can't believe that she said that. We still stayed talking. Even though she said she wasn't friends with me or whatever, she couldn't be friends with me. So what I decided to do was just not talk about my relationship with her at all. Not to bring up the situation, not to tell her anything. I didn't tell anybody shit. Only my family, my closest immediate family member, knew that I was reconciling with my husband, my ex-husband. While we were in the middle, me and my husband were in the middle of doing marriage counseling, and things started to, it started to go better. It started to go really good. I honestly thought that things maybe were going to be okay. I remember going to work out with her one morning, and I told her, I was like, look, I know you don't know this, but I reconciled with him, whether you liked it or not. This is the way it's been going. It's been a few months already. I feel like it's getting better. And she was just like, okay, as long as he does you right, that's all I care about. She was like, I figured you were probably working things out. You haven't spoken about it. She's like, I just wish you the best. Now, I'm not going to speak on her relationships because it's really not my business. I'm only going to talk about the last relationship. But, she had her own things going on, and I really didn't get in the mix of that, ever. When things kind of fell apart between me and my ex-husband, I really even wasn't sad about it. I was just like, okay, now I can close this chapter and move on. Me and her just kind of stayed in touch. We were those friends that we really didn't have to talk every day. We really didn't have to associate all the time. She was the one friend that, because I've gotten heat from other people before where I've called people and they're like, oh, you're not a friend. I haven't spoken to you. We haven't hung out, blah, blah, blah. You got to understand something as an adult. I have a life, just like I'm pretty sure you have a life. And my life does not revolve around my friends. It just doesn't. Like, if your life evolves around your friends and you have great friendships, great. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that. It's just for me. I have a family. I have my own things going on. I'm busy all the time. So whenever I do have downtime, the last thing I'm thinking of is to call my friend so I could have a drink. I really just want to come home and just chill and just relax. So for her, it was like, I didn't have to explain that to her. She understood that. And if I called and said, hey, let's, go to Starbucks in the morning, let's go have a good morning workout, whatever, and just catch up, we'll go have brunch and then we'll have some mimosas at brunch. Like, she was that person I could do that with. To just kind of drop everything out of the blue, let's just do it. If she could do it, she did it. If I could do it, I did it. Again, just kind of like things I could do with her that I couldn't do with anybody else. After my separation with my ex-husband, though, even though we kept in touch, I did start to see kind of like where we were kind of, I guess, going in different directions. I'm not saying that your friend has to have the same career as you, but it's always better to hang around successful people when you're trying to be successful. It's always good to hang around people that are trying to grow when you're trying to grow. I feel like those people are more motivating, and I had decided to leave dentistry. I knew I was getting burnt out. I knew that I was getting tired. I could tell by just the way I was acting. I missed so much time with my kids because I was so busy working 2 jobs, and I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I was to the point where I was exhausted. I was tired. My soul was tired. My body was tired. And I just wanted to have more time for my family. And I really wanted to do something constructive with myself. My daughters were older. They moved out. I finally had a nice, solid relationship where I could lean on that person. And I felt like, you know what? My son is 12. He's very independent. But I felt more freedom where I could actually say, hey, you know what? It's time for me to do what I really want to do. It's time for me to kind of rebirth Sonia in a different way. My career is very much a part of my job. It's very much a part of who I am. I'm ambitious, very ambitious. I'm very motivated. I want to succeed. Spending lifestyle has to be there. So I need to be successful. So with that being said, I decided after 14 and a half years, I was going to leave dentistry. I was going to walk away. And I was nervous. I really was. But I'm telling you, it was the best thing I could have done for myself. Because I literally hit the ground running. I slowly but surely have, over the last 7 months, because it's been 7 months, building my own business little by little. It's time, it's a process, but I'm really, truly doing it. And I can't wait for the day where I can just say, yes, I did it, and look back at all this hard work and all these steps that I had to take. I'm a very impatient person. So for me to sit there and say, oh my God, like, I had to take all these little steps to get there, it's not as frustrating, but at the same time, it kind of is. I want my business now, and I know how I want it. But I also know that I need to take these steps. Like, these steps have to be taken. Once I did decide to leave, I really didn't feel like I had anything more in common with her. Now living a single life. And she was pretty much still doing the same thing she was doing 8 years ago when I met her. I kind of grew out of it. I don't mind still going out, like, on my birthday and having a ratchet night and having fun. I still don't mind every once in a while going and having a drink and whatever, venting or just letting off steam, letting the stress go away. Personally, I'm more goal-oriented now than I ever have been. And again, when I have time off, I care more about spending it with my fiance. I care more about spending it with my son. I don't even want to go nowhere half the time anymore. I feel like I'm such a homebody now. I just want to be in my pajamas with no makeup on, my hair in a bun, and just be chilling and watching, Shark Tank, or right now I'm binge watching the Kardashians because their new show's coming out and I'm just trying to catch up. So I'm just like, I don't care. I'm a lazy person. I still go to the gym and stuff like that, but I've now like started to, I feel like, enjoy my life and take time off, but I really need to. Um, it's a grind, and when I don't have to grind, then I'm sitting still thinking of grinding, but I'm still sitting still trying to enjoy myself, trying to enjoy the luxuries that I have built for myself and the things that God has provided for me. I just didn't see me and her on that level anymore. I felt like I was going this way and she was going this way, and it reminded me so much of my ex-best friend. Hers was a lot more heated. Hers was a lot more toxic. That was a totally different situation. But again, when I started to see her go one way and me go the other, that's when I knew that, okay, this is not going to work. I tried to talk to her about it. I tried to, like, I'm not going to give all her business on the things that I didn't agree with. But she did get into a relationship with somebody that I did not feel like was good for her. I felt like she really didn't love herself, because if she did, she wouldn't be allowing this. I feel like she was so used to toxic stuff, just like I was. You know, I've gone through toxic relationships for sure. When you go through so much toxicity, when you go through so much cycles and cycles and cycles of certain things, like, you feel like that's all you have. You feel like that's all you can, that's it. Without the drama, you feel like your life is boring. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being boring. I'm okay with having a boring life. I'm okay with that. So I don't have a boring life. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, I'm okay with not having the drama. That's why I stay to myself now. I don't hardly go out. I don't hardly have friends. Like, I don't care. Again, it's my career. It's my fiance. It's my son. It's my kids when I get to see them. My daughters. It's his daughters. That's it. I don't give a shit about anything else. Period. Get your feelings hurt. I don't care. But she was just not in the same realm that I was. She was not going down the same road. And it wasn't affecting my life, but it was just kind of like, I have nothing to really talk to you about. We have nothing in common anymore. And it was unfortunate. You know, I could tell that I needed to kind of just step back, because when I would talk to her, I would just hear drama, 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 toxicity. But with me, it was just more like, oh, well, you know, I have this going on and I want to do that. It was two totally different conversations. They were not parallel at all. It was unfortunate. She was making decisions in her life that I just didn't agree with. I tried to talk to her about it, not just about this relationship, but the other things that were going on in her relationship. I was hearing things. I was seeing things. I just got to the point where I was just like, you know what? It did take time, because I tried to talk to her. She didn't want to hear it. She totally ignored it. I felt like, you know, if our friendship was really something that you cared about, you would listen. Not saying you have to do what I say, but you would take in consideration of what I have to say. And she didn't. She didn't. Last week was the last straw, pretty much. We just had a falling out. I'm not even going to say that. I'm not going to say we had a falling out. Before she left last week, because she went to spring break, Cancun or whatever, I was pretty much done at that point. She had pissed me off. I was frustrated with her. I don't want to get into details about what happened. I just know that I finally just had enough. I had the last straw. I just said, you know what? I can't do this no more. Like, I need more positive people in my life. I need somebody who's going down the road that I'm going. I just need more positive energy. And I just wasn't getting that from her. She started to be negative all the time. It was always so negative. And the one thing I can't stand is negative auras. Like, I can't. Because it can definitely, I really feel like other people's energy really affects your energy. And I just did not want that. So I decided the best thing to do was to ghost her. I did. Because I had already explained my situation to her. I had already talked to her several times. She knows the situation. She's not a child. She's a grown-up. And I didn't feel like explaining myself. I've already explained myself. I've already over-explained myself. I don't have time to sit there like a child and be like, well, you know what? You shouldn't have done. No, I don't have time for that. You know the situation. You know what happened. I'm not explaining myself. So while she was gone, I deleted her off of all my social medias. I blocked her. I even deleted our mutual friends, which I hated to do that. But I just felt like, you know what? I got to be done with her. Like if it was my, my ex-husband, when I left my ex-husband, like a relationship, I deleted his mom, I deleted his sister, I deleted his cousin, I deleted his neighbor, I deleted his dog, I deleted everybody off my shit. Like, I have nothing to say to you people. It was more just us growing apart. Just her staying here and not going anywhere and me elevating. And I'm not trying to sound like cocky or arrogant. That's just what it was. I'm elevating, she's staying down here. And she's continuing to make the same mistakes. That's something that I don't get with people. I don't like when people complain that, oh my God, this is going this way, or this is going that way, and this, when you're constantly making the same mistake. You're constantly doing the same thing. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing expecting a different result. You are doing the same thing over and over and you're getting the same result, but you're complaining. I don't get that. And then you're also tacking on more issues because you're continuing to go down that cycle. I can't. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I constantly have to be growing. I constantly have to be doing something productive. Yeah, that's just what that is. So 8 years, my best friend, my second best friend of my whole life, gone. It's unfortunate. There are times where I wish I had girlfriends where I could just go and just be like, yay, girlfriends, let's go hang out, let's go have mimosas, let's go do a spa day. I see so many people that have that. I don't. I never have. At this day and age, I'll be 38 this year. That sounds horrible. But I look good. But that's okay because my fiance is my best friend. No, really, he is. Like, I tell him everything. He has to hear it all. Everything. Every thought, every idea that I have, everything. And, he doesn't get tired of it, so I don't really care if he does. I would talk his ear off. Anyway, that is my tea time. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it respectful. I don't want to sit here and bash her and be like, oh my God, she's a horrible person. She's doing this, she's doing that. I'm not going to give all her situations, what she has going on and the things that she's going through. That's her business. If, in all honesty, I hope that I'm going to be praying for her, and I hope that things work out for her. I really do. I hope that she gets her shit together. I wish her nothing but prosperity and success. I really feel bad for her, honestly. I kind of pity her because she's so intelligent and she just has so much going for herself. She's lost that motivation with her career and everything. And so I don't know what the situation is. I just know that she can do so much more and she can do so much better. So hopefully that will happen for her. But until then, I'm a lonely bitch. Fine. I have you guys. Comment below if you've ever had a fallout with your friends or, how you feel about the situation. If you feel like I was wrong or if I was right. Either one. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Until next time, you guys, I'm actually going to town this weekend with my boo. We're going to go see his family in Oklahoma. I'm probably going to I was going to try to do my cosplay this week, but I've been so busy with work and they were leaving tomorrow, and so I'm not going to really have time, but I will try to do one when I come back. I do have an idea for one. I'm not going to post it on YouTube, so please make sure you go and are following me on Instagram, following me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, because I do post my cosplays on there. I do like to do before and after, or sometimes I just, do the full look, but I am posting my pictures there and the videos. So please make sure that you go. They're in my bio if you want to go and check out my YouTube channel. They're, all of them are linked in my bio for you guys. But until next time, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and a little notification bell so you know when I drop my tea times. Until next time, you guys, don't forget to love yourself because you are all you have. Thanks.